One thing that people are so afraid of right now is mortgages. So the first time home buyers, there's so many people out there that are interested now that, it's not quite as competitive as it was even 6 months ago. They want to get into the market. So I wanted to talk about some of the really cool programs that are out there.
Welcome to the Jennifer J. Hammond Podcast. Jennifer is a licensed realtor, educator, speaker, and best-selling author. Jennifer's goal is to help you find your yay in every day.
Hello. This is Jennifer J. Hammond. And I'm so excited. I have Scott Miller here. He has been in the mortgage industry for 30 plus years. Boy, he has experience. He's a loan officer with a Movement Mortgage here in Florida. So welcome to the show, Scott.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm so excited because one thing that people are so afraid of right now is mortgages. So the first time home buyers, there's so many people out there that are interested now that, it's not quite as competitive as it was even 6 months ago. They want to get into the market. So I wanted to talk about some of the really cool programs that are out there. First of all, like with the county and the state, there are different programs, and some of them can be grants, and then some of them can be loans. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm located in the state of Florida. I'm going to talk about the Home Key program that is specific to Pinellas County, Polk County, and Pasco County. Okay, in Pinellas, you can get $15,000 down payment assistance, and in Polk and Pasco, it is $10,000. And a lot of people think, first-time home buyer. They don't realize that the definition of a first-time home buyer for these programs means that you could not have owned real estate in the last 3 years. Okay.
Is that real estate anywhere in the United States? So like if somebody moved from another state and they owned it 2 years ago, but in a different state, would they be disqualified?
Yes, they would. Okay, anywhere in the United States. And in some cases on the conventional program, if you go conventional instead of FHA, you could not have owned a primary residence in the last 3 years. Okay. So if you did inherit, or if you had an investment property and you were going on the conventional down payment assistance program, you would still be eligible.
Okay, great. And then let's talk about the 10,000 and the 15,000. This is not a grant, right?
It is not a grant. It's a 0% interest loan. It's a second lien. There's no payment due on it. Okay, so it becomes due if you pay off the mortgage or refinance. If you move out of the property and it's no longer your primary residence, it also becomes due.
And I think it's a really neat one because there's no payments. It's 0% interest. So it is a great way to get some extra cash, especially for buyers that are coming into the market. And, even though we've said with quote unquote first time home buyer, as you said, it just needs to be somebody who hasn't owned a property in 3 years, which, a lot of people are moving to the area and they sold their house a couple of years ago, so they could qualify for this. So it's very important to understand what the definition is. And I'm going to say, because I come from the Washington, D.C. area, the definition of first-time homebuyer is different in every state and every area, and quite frankly, with each program, because sometimes you might find that a lender, a mortgage lender or a bank or credit union, they also have different criteria, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Some lenders have their own niche first-time homebuyer program so that they can meet their community reinvestment requirements. And so their guidelines and requirements are going to be different. So for this program, you could not have owned real estate in the last 3 years. If you get the 15,000 in Pinellas or the 10,000 in Pasco or Polk counties, you get the entire $15,000. It first goes towards your down payment, and then if there's anything left over, it goes towards your closing costs.
Excellent. And that's really a good thing because, again, closing costs and, of course, the down payment are the two big chunks of money that buyers are trying to make sure they can come up with to make sure they can afford moving in and moving forward and purchasing property right now. So that's probably my next question is, so right now, buyers who are looking at what they can afford, what are some of the things that they need to know, like, for instance, about their credit score or...
Well, for this program, the minimum credit score is 660.
Okay.
Okay. And the debt to income ratio is 45%. So they'll take 45% of your monthly income and use that to satisfy the entire mortgage payment, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and HOA fee if there is one, plus the other monthly obligations that are going to show up on your credit report, such as auto loans, student loans, stuff like that. So what I do is I direct somebody to my website. They do an online application. Then I can work on the pre-approval and see exactly how much they can qualify for, make sure the debt to income is 45% or less. And then I give them a complete closing cost breakdown and payment breakdown so they can see all the numbers before they enter into a contract.
That's perfect. And will you talk a little bit about some of the different programs that are available? So there's like the FHA that's available, which is what, a 3% or 3.5% down?
3.5% on the FHA program. And there's income limitations as well. So on the FHA Home Key program for a 1 to 2 family household, the income limit is $82,100. For a 3+ family household, that income limit is $98,520. Okay. Some of the other programs, like there's a state program where we'll get into that a little bit later. Those income limitations are different and generally a little bit higher.
And so talk about also the credit score for the FHA.
For the FHA, the minimum credit score is 660.
Okay.
So
great.
That's black and white. There's no gray area on that.
And then, so you were just talking about the statewide program. So there's county programs, but then there's also statewide programs as well, right?
Yeah, the state program, it's eligible in any county in the state of Florida. You can get $10,000 down payment assistance. The minimum credit score for that program is 640. Okay, and the income limits are higher on the conventional side, and they vary from county to county. So I can't go into great detail on that, but if somebody's interested, certainly I can give them the information.
And then we kind of talked a little bit before we came on about there are grants, and it always just depends. I mean, I hate to say we're recording this right now in December, right before, the new year, and anything could change. So there's grants available in different places. It depends on what county, what state you're in, because of course people listen from all over the United States. But I just wanted you to talk just kind of briefly on examples of what grants could be available for a buyer.
Okay, yes, they did recently come out with a 3% grant program eligible in the state of Florida. And they had that a few years ago. And for that program, you don't have to pay the money back. However, it was forgiven 20% per year, fully forgiven after 5 years. So if you sold the property after 3 years, you would still owe 40% of the grant.
And so talk about that. So the 3% is 3% of the purchase price, correct?
It used to be, they recently switched it. It's 3% of the loan amount.
Of the loan amount. Okay, good. So that's part of I want to say, of course, the drum is in the detail, or the devil's in the detail. It's always important to know those kind of details of, like, is it 3% of the loan amount, or is it 3% of the sales price? So look at all those details. These are awesome questions to ask when you're talking to your loan officer. So what is maybe one other thing that somebody who's a buyer in this market should they know about buying and getting a mortgage right now?
Okay, all of these programs require you to do a home buyer education, and you can do it online. You don't have to do it before you get pre-approved or before you start shopping for a house. You do have to complete it prior to closing and provide us with the certificate of completion.
Very good. And I think education, no matter what it is always good, because especially in the game of real estate, it's constantly changing. So it's really important to get the education. So I love that that's actually a requirement. I think it should be a requirement for every single buyer.
Yeah, I agree. And the good news is you can do it online, or you can do it in person if you prefer.
Perfect. So if people wanted to find out more and have questions for you, how do they get a hold of you?
Okay, my name's Scott Miller. I'm with Movement Mortgage. My cell number is 727-424-9927. You can call, text, or email me anytime. That's days, nights, weekends, and holidays. I work all the time. And also my website address is www.movement.com/Scott.A. Miller. And my email address is scott.amiller@movement.com.
Well, Scott, thank you so much. As you know, I'm always looking for the silver lining. And so more yays that we can put in each day. It's so important. So will you lift your voice and say yay with me?
Absolutely.
Perfect. 3, 2, 1.
Yay!